Latest Chelsea injury updates and possible return times. 1. Romeo Lavia. Romeo Lavia is still waiting to make his Chelsea debut after joining from Southampton in a £58M deal, arriving less than fit and then suffering an ankle injury in training. While the midfielder has not suffered any such setbacks, and his first Chelsea game could come in November, the club will want to be careful with the youngster. Therefore, Lavia may not take the plunge until early December and ahead of the club's busy festive schedule. He has long had to wear protective shoes, and before the October international break began rehabilitation in the swimming pool. Possible return date, early December 2023. 2. Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer has impressed since joining from Manchester City on deadline day, scoring his first goal for the club in the final game before the international break. The youngster suffered a hamstring injury when starting in England U21 9-1 win over Serbia last week, but was forced to come off in the second half. Manager Lee Carsley sought to allay fears of a serious injury, telling reporters, "I think Cole will be okay, but we're not taking any chances with any player. If there is even the slightest doubt that they will miss the game at the weekend, we will return them to the club as quickly as we can. We could have kept Cole here another day and seen how he went, but we don't think that's right. Everyone is fine, just a few colds and flus." Possible return date, Saturday the 21st of October 2023 versus Arsenal. 3. Armand Broja. Chelsea have been hit by fresh injury concerns over Armando Broja after the striker was also forced to withdraw from his international debut. Albania coach Silvinho said, "Regarding Broja, I have to give bad news. He was only with the team for 2 days. After consulting with our doctors and Chelsea doctors, he is not available. He will not be ready for the match. We have other players to evaluate. Return time unknown." 4. Reece James. It looks like Chelsea club captain James will be available for selection again after suffering more hamstring problems. A one-match Football Association suspension for confronting the referee in the tunnel after the defeat to Aston Villa meant he could not return against Burnley. But there are hopes that the England international will feature after the international break. Possible return date, Saturday the 21st of October 2023 versus Arsenal. 5. Axel Disasi. Disasi was added to the France squad along with Malo Gusto as a replacement for Jules Koundé and Dayot Upamecano, but withdrew just hours later with what the French Football Federation described as a tear in the quadriceps of the left thigh. He will now surely undergo a checkup by the Blues medical staff, although it is unlikely he will be fit to play against title challengers Arsenal in the big London derby immediately after the break. Possible return date, November 2023. 6. Mykhailo Mudryk. Mudryk allayed injury fears by appearing as a substitute in the 4-1 comeback win at Burnley before the international break, but he required treatment in Ukraine's 2-0 win over North Macedonia last week before being substituted. Further clarity regarding his fitness is expected to emerge soon when Ukraine returns to action in their next match. Possible return date, Saturday the 21st of October 2023 versus Arsenal. 7. Benoit Badiashile. The French defender has not kicked a ball in anger so far following the hamstring problem he experienced during pre-season. However, Badiashile is now finally back in training after 1 or 2 setbacks and could soon return to first-team action. Possible return date, Saturday the 28th of October, 2023 versus Brentford. 8. Ben Chilwell. Chilwell suffered a hamstring injury late in the Carabao Cup third-round win against Brighton and is not expected to return until at least December. This is the England left-back's third problem in less than a year, causing concern at Chelsea. Possible return date, December 2023. 9. Christopher Nkunku. This summer's big signing required knee surgery after a collision during a pre-season friendly against Borussia Dortmund in the United States. Not yet back in team training, a return this year seems increasingly unlikely. However, Nkunku has posted positive videos on social media of him increasing his workload and rehabilitation behind the scenes. Possible return date, January 2024. 10. Wesley Fofana. The unlucky French defender has struggled to play again this season following an ACL injury he suffered during preseason. Possible return date, summer 2024. Newcastle United are interested in contracting Trevoh Chalobah in the January transfer market. Trevoh Chalobah seems to be moving in the near future. As reported by 90 Min, he failed to reach a move to Bayern or Nottingham Forest at the end of the summer window. Bayern Munich and Forest are interested in Chalobah, but 90 Min added that Newcastle, Brentford and Fulham also competed, and Borussia Dortmund, Juventus and Rome complement the list of teams that consider the potential for move. The report noted that Thomas Tuchel was a big fan of Chalobah, so it is not surprising that Bayern become a team that is in the leading position to contract him. However, Newcastle can hardly be ignored in any race. The Magpies continue to achieve rapid progress, and they have now shown their abilities on the European stage after dismantling Paris Saint-Germain at St. James's Park in the Champions League. Chelsea have reportedly sent scouts to keep an eye on Portuguese club Sporting CP defender Ousmane Diomande. The Blues have now joined forces with the Gunners to acquire the services of Diomande, who has a market value of €25 million. However, Sporting is unlikely to part ways with the player anytime soon, as they are currently working on extending Diomande's contract. The player's new deal will increase his release clause and annual salary to €80 million each. Manchester City and West Ham United are expected to lead the race to keep Ian Maatsen in the Premier League if his future at Chelsea remains in doubt at the end of the year. The attack-minded left-back was linked with Barcelona over the weekend and is the only Blues first-team player whose contract is starting to expire, along with 39-year-old Thiago Silva. Maatsen's contract is due to expire at the end of the season, but even his extension efforts feel in line with preserving his value at this stage, rather than any genuine intention for him in the first team. Chelsea demonstrated their worth by accepting a £31.5 million bid from Burnley for Maatsen in September, and while the player was not overly impressed by the moment and has given himself the chance to remain in the Chelsea squad, there is a feeling that he could be willing to move on in January if no new terms are agreed soon. Thiago Silva refused to comment on transfer rumors. The player has repeatedly stated that he wants to return to the Rio de Janeiro team before retiring, and this has led to recent pressure from their fans. When interviewed by Esporte Espectacular, the Chelsea star avoided discussing the matter, claiming he would only make a decision when the time comes. Thiago Silva said, "This is a long-term relationship, right? But I prefer to remain silent at this time, because recently it has become controversial. I have a family now, I have children, so we have to think about that too. But it's about seeing what things can bring us happiness, to end a beautiful and triumphant career that I believe I've had." Thiago Silva turned 39 last month, so it's no wonder why Fluminense fans are questioning whether he will actually return to playing before retiring. Disaster struck on August 3rd when Christopher Nkunku limped off the pitch just 20 minutes into Chelsea's pre-season match against Borussia Dortmund in Chicago. The France international, a £52 Amiat signing from RB Leipzig in the summer, came into the match having scored 3 goals on tour of the United States, leaving Chelsea fans extremely excited about what was to come. However, Nkunku suffered a serious knee injury early in the match on what appeared to be a very dangerous surface. The 25-year-old is scheduled to return in December or January, but it is currently too early to know the exact date of his return. Whenever the Frenchman returns, Chelsea will be counting on him to be at his best immediately. Nkunku, in his brief spell during pre-season, showed his ability and ruthlessness in front of goal, something Chelsea have lacked this season, although they appear to have improved in recent games.